Omakyana timrandasya cham shalakya shakshan viditam yena tasmai shigurave namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini. Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarani. Srila Prabhupada Ki. So, this evening we will continue discussing Nectar of Instruction, verse 3. I will read the verse again, and we will continue with the purport. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Utsahan Nisayatayat Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyaga Sato Vite Sadbir Bhakti Prasiddhati. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service: being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting according to the regulative principles such as Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, abandoning the association of non-devotees and following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Now, last 2 sessions we discussed the importance of pure devotional service and discussed mainly this definition of Rupa Goswami of pure devotional service. Anyabilasta sunyam jnana karmatana avitam anukulena krishnanu shilnam bhakti uttama. Uttama bhakti, or unalloyed devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jnana, or all other selfish desires. So this was the definition. We discussed this. Prabhupada starts with that in the purport because he starts his purport with the most important of these 6 items, and that is acting according to the regulative principles. These are positive actions, things which we should do, and they are most important. That in the previous verse we discussed 6 things not to do. But the focus is not on these principles. The focus is on this Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. We should organize our life 24 hours, Srila Prabhupada writes, so that we always can think of Krishna. And these principles makes us think of Krishna. And as long as we are not, we are thinking of Krishna, then these 6 things not to do, that will be automatic, because we will have no time for them. We are completely absorbed in the Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Therefore, but that's called in Sanskrit here in the verse, Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat. So, executing the regulative principles of devotional service which is of 9 kinds. And these 9 forms of devotional service are mentioned in this verse. So this is practically one of the most important verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I will go to that verse because this is a verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. This verse has been spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. And this verse has a purport of 16 pages. Harikesh Maharaj was typing this purport when he was in Scandinavia, I think. He was typing it out, that 16 pages, and this purport is very important. That we will go through this purport of the Bhagavatam to understand this that karma pavartanat more deeply. So I will read this verse from the Bhagavatam. Shri Prarat Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Varnam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pum Sarpita Vishnu Bhakti Senna Valakshana Kriyeta Bhagavatyada Tanmanye Ditam Uttamam. Here we have the synonyms. So, Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them and serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, over prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord's one best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with body, mind, and words. These 9 poses are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. So, in Nectar of Instruction, text 3, Srila Prabhupada gave first the definition of pure devotional service. And this verse says, these are 9 processes of pure devotional service. So we will read the purport. So can someone read the first paragraph, please, of this purport? That it's on the screen. Someone volunteers.
Yes, Maharaj, I can read.
Thank you.
When Prahlad Maharaj was asked by his father to say something from whatever he had learned, he considered that what he had learned from his spiritual master was the best of all teachings, whereas what he had learned about diplomacy from his material teachers, Shanda and Amarka, was useless. Bhakti pareshanubhavo viraktir anayatra cha, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.42. This is the symptom of pure devotional service. A pure devotee is interested only in devotional service, not in material affairs. To execute devotional service, one should always engage in hearing and chanting about Krishna or Lord Vishnu. The process of temple worship is called archana, How to perform Archana will be explained herein. One should have complete faith in the words of Krishna, who Sarva Bhutanam, sorry, who says that he is the greatest well-wishing friend of everyone. Suhudram Sarva Bhutanam, Bhagavad Gita 5.29. A devotee considers Krishna the only friend. This is called Sakhyam. Pumshar Pita Vishnu. The word Pumsa means by all living entities. There are no distinctions permitting only a man or only a Brahman to offer devotional service to the Lord. Everyone can do so, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.32. Shriyo Vaishyas, Striyo Vaishyas Tatha Shudras Te Api Yanti Param Gatim. All the women, Vaishyas, and Shudras are considered less intelligent. They also can become devotees and return home back to Godhead.
Okay, so we go back. That Sir Prahlad Maharaj, his father asked him, "What is the best thing you have learned in school? What is the best thing you have learned?" So Prahlad Maharaj was thinking, "I will give my father the best teachings, the essence, the best teachings I heard from my spiritual master, Narada Muni, because he learned from Narada Muni in the womb of his mother. So I will give him the best." So therefore that shows these verses explaining these 9 poses of devotional service is the best of all knowledge. That and therefore most essential. Because Nectar of Instruction, verse 3 explains six activities we should do. That but from these 6 activities, this Tat Karma Pavartana is the most important. That's the essence. And therefore, Prabhupada, after explaining pure devotional service, start to explain these principles. So Prahlad, because he was a pure devotee, that he felt compassion for his father, who was the most materialistic person. So here Prahlad Maharaj plays the role of a pure devotee, and a symptom described here is interested only in devotional service, not in material affairs. His father was just the opposite. He was interested in material affairs, not in devotional service. Certainly not to Vishnu, because Vishnu was the killer of his brother, Yaksha. He has no interest. He was against devotional service. But still, Prahlad Maharaj was very honest and he gave him the best of knowledge. This is the greatest compassion, that to give others spiritual knowledge, that because that will dissipate their ignorance and they will be understand their real position as a spiritual soul and give up their false ego. So to execute devotional service, one should always engaging in chanting, hearing and chanting about Krishna or Lord Vishnu. Hearing and chanting. So if we chant japa, we hear and we chant. That's one form of hearing and chanting. Mostly to execute that hearing and chanting the holy name of Krishna, one must just hear the holy name, but many times our mind comes between, bringing so many unnecessary thoughts, because that's caused by our attachment to things in this world, our anarthas. But the hearing and chanting of Srimad Bhagavatam with this purpose will help us to diminish these anarthas and to become more attached to Krishna and the holy name. So this hearing and chanting is the main process, and that's confirmed in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, that it said, given this 177, that this is a famous verse from the Bhagavatam. Yasyam va shruyamanayam Krishna parama puruse bhaktir utpatyate pumsa sukamo bhayapaha. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling of loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once and extinguishes the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fear. Just by hearing about Krishna, our lamentation, illusion, and fear goes. Why? Because the Bhagavatam in the third canto, there it explains that the cause of our suffering, is that we have forgotten Krishna. And because we have forgotten Krishna, we accept a false ego. We have forgotten that we are a servant of Krishna. And we think ourselves the enjoyer and the proprietor. And by that, we create false ego. We identify with the body and we think what belongs to the body is mine. And because we think this is mine, then one is afraid to lose it, because everything changes in this world. And then suffering comes. And finally one thinks one is the body, and at the end of life we think, I'm going to die, I'm going to disappear. But that's not true. That's all due to ignorance. The soul, the symptom of the soul is consciousness, and you cannot kill consciousness. You can lose your contact with this material world, like in deep sleep. A death is like that. You are only conscious of the soul, but you are still conscious. Consciousness cannot be killed. And so, therefore, but if we are reviving our Krishna consciousness, then we will be 24 hours conscious of Krishna also, even in deep sleep. But because Krishna is with us in the soul, is in the heart of the soul, Krishna says. So that is a symptom of pure devotional service. Prabhupada writes here. A devotee is only interested in devotional service because that's our real consciousness, Krishna consciousness. And that Krishna consciousness is awakened by these 9 processes of devotional service. So to execute this devotional service, Prabhupada writes, one should always engage in hearing and chanting about Krishna or Lord Vishnu. So that's our business. This means, yes, and sometimes the question is asked that how can I become steady in devotional service? That's a very important question. That steadiness in this devotional service means creating our ability to always engage in these 9 processes of devotional service. These processes has 2 parts: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. That first part, which is mentioned here as the most important, hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, remembering about Krishna, is called the Bhagavad Vidhi. That's the path enunciated by Srimad Bhagavatam. This is very simple, and this is hearing, remembering, and speaking about Krishna. Yes, this uh, this this process of hearing, remembering, and glorifying Krishna is the most important and the most easy. Prabhupada writes everyone can do it. That at the end of the purport he says, Striya Vaishtatasus Sudras Depiyanti Pramratim. That's that verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Those who are less intelligent, women, Vaishyas and Sudras. Sudra Sambhava, we are all born Sudras in Kali Yuga, so we are all Sudras. We are all in that category of Vaishyas and women. That women are mentioned here. Not that they are less intelligent on the material platform. That will be quite the same in Kali Yuga. Not much difference. But women have the natural role that they are that they are naturally attached to children and family. And this material attachment covers their spiritual intelligence more than a man. And that is what mentioned here. But devotional service is so powerful that this does not matter. One can come out of this situation of being influenced by the mode of passion and ignorance, and one can come to goodness by devotional service and finally to pure goodness. So everyone can practice it. And nobody can practically stop you doing that, and then everyone can chant, even in the mind, that so this is the most important process, and that's the process of Bhagavad Gita, the process shown by Srimad Bhagavatam, that just hearing the Bhagavatam, remembering that, glory speaking, repeating, recitation. And that. At the other side, you have the other 6 processes. So, you have here, we go back. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. This is Bhagavad Gita. Now, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atman, Nivedanam. This is called Pancharatrika Vidhi, the second part. The Pancharatrika is very practical. How to do deity worship. It's all practical, and it's all rules and regulations how to do deity worship. So what's the difference between this Bhagavad Vidhi and Pancharatrika Vidhi? For the Pancharatrika Vidhi, there are many rules and regulations. You must take a bath before going on the altar. You have to put up tilak. You have to chant Gayatri before going on the altar. These are all rules and regulations for deity worship. But that's not there for Bhagavad Vidhi. Everyone can do it. Even a child can do it. We see here Prahlad Maharaj is speaking, he's 5 years old, and he's teaching the Shravana Kirtan Vishnu Smaranam to his schoolmates. He is teaching this to his schoolmates, and he advises his schoolmates, Kamra achet pachyo dharmam bharvtamyam, tulabam mansamtyam tapyaduvam achtadam. That he said, one who has intelligence, Palatma said, he should use his body from the beginning. He should use the human form of life, that from the very beginning of life, from the Kumara age, 5 years old. That so Prabhupada said many times, we've seen also children can participate in this Krishna conscious movement very easily. They also chant and dance during Kirtan. That, so Prabhupada said this body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it's meaningful because in the human form of life you can perform devotional service. So you can perform the Shravana Kirtan Vishnu Smaranam. A dog cannot do that. The human form allows us that, and even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete protection. So, to be steady in devotional service, we need to engage in these 9 forms of devotional service constantly. I was for about 10 years in the UK, in Leicester, and in 2011, there was a gas explosion in the temple and we lost the temple just by gas explosion. Just for the next 5-6 years, I was living in the homes of devotees. And mostly my host, they were sleeping till 6, 7, and I was getting up at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, chanting my rounds, and then doing deity worship. I did the whole morning program on my own, completely alone. But I did the whole morning program every morning, including deity worship, and including the hearing of a Bhagavatam class. And I did that for many years. So we have to create the ability to engage ourselves in devotional service. This is very important. And devotional service means these 9 processes of devotional service. So how to perform asana will be explained here. That this deity worship, the temple worship, is this 6 last processes of devotional service. So one should have complete faith in the words of Krishna, who says that he's a great well-wishing friend of everyone. So that's required, faith in the words of Krishna. How can we cultivate this faith in the words of Krishna? We can cultivate this faith especially by hearing the Bhagavad Gita every day. And you will find Bhagavad Gita that everything Krishna says is true. He speaks about his three modes and how to cultivate these modes. You will see that when you cultivate these modes, when you cultivate the mode of goodness, you will develop the symptoms of one who is situated in goodness. And that practice gives faith that so we understand Krishna says yes when your body changes. Everyone can experience body changes, goes to these sex changes, and we have to tolerate it. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, one who takes birth will die. This is absolute truth. No one can counter that. But it's important to realize that Krishna is our only friend. Once we come under the process of devotional service, Krishna, when we perform devotional service, Krishna reciprocates. He is purifying our heart. We cannot ourselves purify our heart. It's Krishna in the heart who purifies our heart. And he does that as reciprocation of our engagement in these nine processes. These nine processes is the means of developing love of God, but it's also the means of purification. It's the method and the goal. That if we practice it, then Krishna purifies our heart. Yeyatamam pabachante tamstate vajamyam. Krishna reciprocates with us. So he's our best well-wisher. Prabhupada used to write, "Your ever well-wisher." So that's Krishna's characteristics, which is inherited by the pure devotee naturally. So this is Sakyam. Sakyam. It's in the it's these are these nine processes and that Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam. So that's one aspect of devotional service. To understand Krishna is my greatest well-wisher. This is part of the process of surrender to Krishna. Process of surrender to Krishna. This is described, I think, in the Sri Sampradaya. This process, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur has discussed that in his Saranagati. How to surrender. How to surrender to the Supreme Lord. But that's based on knowledge. Knowledge that Krishna is my only maintainer. Krishna is my only protector. Krishna is my only friend. Because we have so many friends in this world, maybe so-called friends, that many time friendship is based on or materially motivated. That these are not real friends. A real friend is when one is in need and in deed, they say. When you are in need, a good friend will help you. And when we understand we are in difficulty, we understand we have done so much nonsense in this material world. and that on our own strength we cannot get out of it. One becomes humble, and then one understands Krishna is my only friend. This is called Sakyam, Prabhupada said. Understanding Krishna is our only friend. Friends in this world come and go. And next friend, next life, we will other friends come and go. It's all fleeting, temporary. That and that's everyone can perform devotional service. So if there are any questions until now, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. About continuously hearing and chanting. So when we are, working, then our mind is engaged in, the work or work-related activities. So how can we achieve that continuous hearing and chanting?
Well, when you are engaged in your daily work, then it's important to have as motive that you do your work to please Krishna. That's very important. That we don't do the work out of selfish reasons, but out of duty. It's like someone picks up his spiritual master at the airport and then drives back home. And one's mind is absorbed in all the traffic rules and all the things, because otherwise you cannot drive safely. But in your back, you don't forget that you are driving your spiritual master to the temple. So that motive should be there. I'm working to maintain my family. My family are devotees. That I'm working for the. I'm working for the paying my house. The house is a temple. It should be turned in a temple. Then at least you have the benefit. But still, while doing your duty, many times we are driving. While you are driving, you can hear Prabhupada's lectures. That you can engage your mind as much as possible. That in the time between, but yes, when the Hyastasha, one has his duties and has to fulfill this. That of course there are those like I've I've a friend and he is Rupa Sanatan in Randesh. He has also a family, but he's a BBT translator. He's always busy with Prabhupada's books. So if you are a manager in ISKCON, you are managing the temple. You may be absorbed in material things, so-called, or organizing things, but this is not a material engagement, it's a spiritual engagement. Because finally it's to please Krishna, to please Srila Prabhupada. So these are spiritual activities. We have to spiritualize our activities. But of course, here we have Shravanakirtan, Vishnu Smaranam and so on. These are direct devotional service. The other is many times indirect. We cannot think, we don't think on Krishna always. Therefore, it's important to have a balance between these 9 processes and the duties we do. Okay, we have to work 8 hours, but we should not live to work, but work to live. And besides, we should have in the morning and the evening hearing, chanting while you are cooking for Krishna. You can also hear that. Therefore, I know in Deland you have the morning program. That's good. That should be maintained. And in the evening, we should have Krishna book. That before we take rest. So yes, these are ways to engage us godly. So yes, our duties during the day may not be Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam, but we should do it to please Krishna. And then at least it is indirectly connected. But a direct connection we should have in the morning and the evening. That's the idea, in the morning and the evening. And that will give you spiritual strength during the day. So in the morning, we're chanting our rounds, we have deity worship, Guru Puja, and hear Prabhupada. And in the evening, yes, we should hear Bhagavad Gita class, and then hear Krishna book before we go to sleep. We have Prabhupada's recordings of Krishna book that I have them in SoundCloud, and it's up, and I have the audio recordings of Krishna book, and it continues evening after evening where it left up, and I hear 1-2 chapters every evening. That keeps you absorbed during the day. That helps during the day if you have that sandwich, and then during the day you will be able to remember Krishna. You will take shelter of Krishna when you have difficulties. You will pray to Krishna, to that because that's the illusion. We think we are the doer, but if you understand we are not the doer and you have challenges, you pray to Krishna during the day. And by that you remember also Krishna. So it's a process, but yeah, that's the morning and the evening we do this Shravana Kirtana Vishnu Smaranam, and the deity worship, the 9 processes here. And during the day when we work, yeah, we take shelter of Krishna and do it for his, and do it with the motive to please Krishna. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Something else? Okay. Then we continue with the next paragraph. It's on the screen. Someone wants to read it?
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
After performing sacrifices, sometimes a person engaged in fruitive activity customarily offers the results to Vishnu. But here it is said, Bhagavati Adha, one must directly offer everything to Vishnu. This is called sannyas, not merely nyas. A tridandi sannyasi carries 3 dandas, signifying kayo, mano, vakya, body, mind, and words. All of these should be offered to Vishnu, and then one can begin devotional service. Fruitive workers first perform some pious activities and then formally or officially offer the results to Vishnu. The real devotee, however, first offers his surrender to Krishna with his body, mind, and words, and then uses his body, mind, and words for the service of Krishna as Krishna desires.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is a very important principle. Well, this gives more or less the answer on the question of Purnachandra Prabhu, what we should do during the day. That's using our body, minds, and words in the service of Krishna. Be conscious when we do something, we do it for Krishna. And that all these should be offered to Vishnu, and then one can begin devotional service. So, because when we offer it to Krishna, we start to give our attention to Krishna. And before adding devotion, love, we must first get attention. Because this is important. Udret atmanatman atmanam avasadyat atmevi atmanavandur atmeva ripo atmana. 6.5 Bhagavad Gita. What Krishna says, with the mind you can degrade yourself or uplift yourself. The mind can be your enemy or your friend. When is the mind our friend? When it is engaged in body, mind, and words every moment. We should think during the day when we do our work. Krishna has me given this post here, this activity to do, and I'm his servant. So I'm doing it as servant for him. And this my work is not ordinary work. I'm doing it to please Krishna. Krishna has engaged me in that service. Because Krishna creates the circumstances in which we have to operate. Yes, because it's not like the fruitive workers. They do some pious activities and then offer results to Krishna. No, the activity itself is offered to Krishna. We are offering everything, body, minds, and words. And one should perform one's work as Krishna desires. So that brings a question. What does Krishna desire? The spiritual master, he represents Krishna's desire. So that is one way that if one does not know how to please Krishna, we ask the authorities, we ask the spiritual master. But that may also mean, one devotee wrote Prabhupada, but we see you only once a year, and it's difficult to know what Krishna desires. And Prabhupada said, you ask the temple authorities. The temple authorities' duty is to engage everyone in devotional service according to their tendency, according to their psychophysical nature, as much as possible, not always possible. So Prabhupada said you ask the temple authorities, you ask the devotees that and this is, yeah. Now in the next, I will read the next paragraph. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur gives the following explanation in his Tatya. The word Shravan refers to giving oral reception to the holy name and description of the Lord's form, qualities, entourage, and pastimes as explained in the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar authorized scriptures. After orally receiving such messages, one should memorize these vibrations and repeat them, kirtanam. Smaranam means trying to understand more about the Supreme Lord, and Padasevanam means engaging oneself in serving the lotus feet of the Lord. That serving lotus feet of the Lord according to time, place, and circumstances. Archana means worshipping Lord Vishnu as one does in the temple, and Vandana means offering respectful obeisances. That Manmana Bhav Madbhakto Mati Imam Namaskar. Vandana means Namaskar, offering obeisances or offering prayers, thinking oneself to be Nitya Krishna Das, everlasting servant of Krishna, is called Dasyam, and Sakyam means being a well-wisher of Krishna. Krishna wants everyone to surrender unto him because everyone is constitutionally servant. Therefore, as a sincere friend of Krishna, one should preach his philosophy, requesting everyone to surrender unto Krishna. Atmanivedana means offering everything, Krishna everything, including one's body, mind, intelligence, and whatever one may possess. So if we go back, because there is a lot of in this little paragraph that so first he says Shravanam, oral reception to the holy name and the description of the Lord's qualities and its pastimes, as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada stresses we should both do both, that the oral reception to the holy name and the description of the form, qualities, entourage, pastimes, as explained in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So the holy name is Krishna. But to know more about the holy name, because the holy name is not different from the Lord's form, qualities, entourage, and pastimes. It's the same, it's equal. But we are not aware of it when we chant the holy name, therefore we make offenses. Therefore we must hear from the Bhagavatam every day and chant the holy name. Both. That this combination has to be made to make the Bhagavad Vidhi complete. One must hear that, because then gradually by hearing Bhagavatam we start to know Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his position, how he reciprocates with his devotees. That's what from the Bhagavatam we hear the qualities of his devotees, the mentality of the devotees which we have to develop. That and by hearing, by association with the Bhagavatam, we become affected in a positive sense, and that will help the chanting. So there is a connection between chanting and hearing the Bhagavatam, because the Bhagavatam factually glorifies the chanting and promotes the chanting of the holy name as the ultimate method of devotion service. That this is explained already in the first verses of Srimad Bhagavatam that this is Bhagavatam 1:114 that says Apana samshrutim goram yan nama vishvasurinam tada sadyo vimuchite yad vibeti svam vam. Living beings are entangled in the complicated mesh of birth. Who are entangled in the complicated meshes of birth and death can be freed immediately by even unconsciously chanting the holy name, which is feared by fear personified. By even unconsciously chanting the holy name. Sometimes we are not very much conscious when we chant that, but that's how powerful the holy name is. This is from the sages to Sutta Goswami. So that's the beginning of the Bhagavatam. Is promoting the holy name of the Supreme Lord. That's the beginning of the Bhagavatam and the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto. Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sava Papa Panasanam Panamoduka Samas Tanamami Harim Param. Therefore, my respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of whose holy name destroys all sinful reactions and offer obeisance unto whom relieves all material suffering. So it destroys all our sinful reactions, purifies our heart. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, explaining the power of the holy name, but also the Lord's form, qualities, entourage, and so on. And Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita are authorized scriptures in this regard. Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is about Krishna. So, are there any questions further, please? Question? Good. If there are no questions, then I look forward to see you next week. Next week I will be in Deland, and I think on Wednesday evening, 9 p.m. we can have the class online. Is that okay? For Nachonato, or do we have something of Wednesday?
Yes, Maharaj. I think by the time we'll come, it will be little, and you will be a little exhausted also because the program is, I think the program is in Embry-Riddle University, which is about an hour from here.
Yeah.
On Wednesday. It is an evening program. So by the time we come, it would be a little late.
Yeah, then can we do it on Thursday?
Yes, Thursday the class can be done here.
Yeah, then we do it next week, Thursday. Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Thank you. His name is Bhakti Prabha Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Okay.